So hello folks, welcome back to Announcements. This is week 12 of 16, so we're getting closer to the end now. And I want to talk to you about several things right now. I want to talk to you about the persuasive writing kind of guidance that you're getting in the course right now. I want to provide some alternatives to that and kind of steer you clear of some problems. I want to tell you about some resources that I've put into your course, including alternate readings, but also a couple of links where you could put in either your outline of your argument or your full paper into different links, and you can get feedback from an AI and work with that. And you can get some extra credit for that if you wish to write a report about it. But I think looking at it and interacting with the AI and asking it questions about how it can solve some of the problems that you're trying to solve would be really helpful. And then I just want to talk a little bit about housekeeping and some things that are going on, especially this week. So let me just go over here. I'm going to use slides for a minute. I'll switch back and forth. But here we go. So here we are in week 12. Let's talk about the persuasive research in the sample essay lecture first. So it's really good in the way that it's showing you multiple sources of evidence in a paragraph. They're not all from the same place. They're different kinds of evidence, different kinds of statistics and opinions and things. And then it's also really good about showing that that's not the bulk of it, that you're also, have explanation, not telling someone what the quote is saying or what the source is saying, but using that and then explaining how it's relevant to your argument and how it helps prove your argument. Some places where that lecture and that sample essay are not so great. The topic sentences in that essay are kind of a mess. The signal phrases are even more of a mess, and there's some parenthetical citation weirdness in there and some works cited errors. So I just want to look at all of that for a minute. So for topic sentences, that's the first sentence of every one of your body paragraphs, and it should relate back to your thesis. It should answer that because question. And the main thing I'll say is one of the really good ways that you can revise and edit and even, kind of as you're drafting is look at the first sentences of those paragraphs and read them and see if they make any sense, because that should show the flow of your argument. And if it doesn't, then that tells you something. In this case, the way that it relates to the thesis, I think, is fine. But some of the wording there, it's just, I would suggest that you read aloud. And if you have, problems getting it out, then rewrite it so it's easier to say. It'll also be easier to read. So that's the first thing. Signal phrases. So I saw a lot of according to so-and-so, and then gives them the title of the work and all of that. Usually you don't need the title of the book unless you're just trying to add, extra, pad it and add fluff, which why would you do that? So usually it's not needed. It's usually pretty awkward when it's there. The titles of authors, like giving them a title like PhD or MD or something like that, is usually not recommended either. And then really, I encourage you to use strong analytical verbs in present tense for when you're doing signal phrases. So let me explain what I mean by both of those things. So according to is the really clunky way to do it. According to so-and-so author and whatever title of their thing. Instead of that, you could say Joe author, a law professor at Salmon P. Chase School of Law, observes. That gives you who they are. It tells you how they're credible, how they have any kind of expertise to be talking about the thing that they're about to talk about in your paper. And then the analytical verb is observes. In APA style, it's usually past tense, because in that case, it might be somebody talking about what someone found in a study, 20 years ago. But in MLA, it's present tense because we're talking about ideas and things that are present now. Even if they were written 100 years ago, we're considering them as ideas right now. And so it's present tense for that. So just I put a link in the course to that, and I'll kind of go through all of that at the end. Going on here, parenthetical citation. So the periods are all over the place. The period goes after the parenthetical citation when it exists, unless you're doing a block quote, and then it would go before in the block and then the parentheses after. That's true whether it's a quote that is being cited or whether it's something that you've put in your own words, but it's from that source, and so you do need to cite it. Period goes after. Don't double cite. I don't think I saw that in there, but some of you are very conditioned. You either use a signal phrase with the name or you put it in parenthetical citation. You don't need to do both. So decide when and how you're going to do that. The works cited page was, oh my gosh. Anchor the works cited title to the top of the last page. I have a video that shows you how to do that. Center it and capitalize it. I don't know why it's on the left margin in that video, but it is, and it shouldn't be. Distinguish between works and work. Works with an S, cited is 2 or more, work is only 1. You should not have a work cited page in this paper because you have more sources than 1. I've got some demo videos in the course that can walk you through this and other kinds of weirdness of MLA formatting. So I'll show you that too in a minute. So the sample essay in kind of the next lesson is much better. The only thing I would say about it is if you use an internet source, something that wasn't from the databases, add the word accessed and then the date in MLA format at the end. After the URL, jump over a space and then put that there. That's because stuff on the web changes. Stuff in databases will not because it's in a static place, but sometimes stuff gets moved, and maybe you found that at times. Put it whatever date that you accessed the page. It can be an approximate date. No one's going to come to your house if you're a day or two off, but at least it lets people know if they click on that URL why it may not be there. So the sample outline for the quiz, the only thing I'll say about that is that it's a really good, classical argument, which I guess you've read about in your book a little bit. There are other ways to make good arguments. I'm going to talk about one of them here just briefly and point you somewhere. But I did notice that outline is missing counter arguments. I did not see those in there. So you do have to have counter arguments as part of this. So what I wanted to talk to you about is Rogerian argument. And the reason for that is that they're a little bit hard to write because they're not your normal 5-paragraph essay. But as broken as our discourse is and the way that we, talk to each other politically and try to solve problems, if we're not trying so hard to win, which is what is happening in a classical argument, maybe we'd get better off, or at least it would be nice to practice that. So it's not about winning, but it's about collaborating with someone else, assuming in good faith that you both see a problem, you both agree on what the problem is, and kind of work together to solve it. And so it's I've got a reading in the course about that will tell you kind of the parts of it. I am happy to get a Rogerian argument out of you if that's the way that you want to approach your paper. You do not have to do the other kind. You'll still use opposing viewpoints, but what you're doing is kind of first laying out what you think your opponent's position is, and then taking some good things out of that, and then proposing your solution, and then kind of working to a common ground so that this problem can get solved. So resources, I've got a couple of things here. At the top of the course I'll show this in a minute, I have a new research folder in the top of the course that's called Persuasive Research. So look in there, there's some readings in there and some things that will be helpful to you. In the specific assignment resources folder, which is a little bit further down, that's where the MLA demo videos are. I'll show that in a sec. The optional assignments, I was talking about this a second ago, my essay feedback. I've got one for your argument outline and I have one for your essay. They're 2 separate links. They're in the AI kind of folder. I'll show that in a second. If you use it, especially on your outline or on the essay, and then you make a lot of changes to it, state that you used it. Say, I used my essay feedback, and then say what it improved. Like, were you working on logic? Was it just for formatting? What was it? All right, and now some housekeeping, and then I'll go over and show this stuff in the course. So the eclipse is on Monday, April 8th. I am so excited. I can't stand it. I'm never going to see this again in my lifetime. I hope it's not raining that day. But it's also Boone County spring break. So what I will say to you is you can submit stuff early that week. I will look at it. I will be working that week, except for on April 8th. And then however long it takes me to get back from totality, which is not that far away. But I learned my lesson a few years ago when there was an eclipse, not to try to get there at the last minute, and certainly not be in a hurry to get home because traffic is a mess. This week, so this is Holy Week, y'all. And I'm a professional cantor, and I have 6 services between Thursday and Sunday. So I will hold my office hours on Thursday afternoon. I may be available a little bit after that by appointment on that day, but I do have a service that night, so I have to show up, when call is, which I think is 5. On Friday, I will hold my office hours from 9 to noon as a drop-in thing, so you can come in there, or if you want to make an appointment, that's fine. I can't do anything after that because I'm going to be up at Holy Cross Immaculata in Mount Adams all afternoon. There are 2 services up there at 3 and 7, and I still need to learn some music for that, so that'll be really fun. Anyway, but I'm available, but definitely not on Good Friday, and probably not that weekend. But do email me. I'll have time in between things. The last thing, late work. So you get 10% off for assignments that are late that I have to grade. It looks like the assignments that are sort of auto-graded you're getting full credit if you do them. I'm not going to fight you on that. I'm not going to go back and clean that up in any way. But just know that the persuasive research essay itself is worth 200 points. So if it's late, you already start with 20 of them off, and that can add up really fast. So just be aware of that. The other thing is that paper is due on, let's see, on the 19th of April, I think, right? And the cutoff date for when I will no longer take late work is the Monday, April 22nd. So if you can't get yourself together enough to turn something in by at least the 22nd, I'm not reading it after that. And 200 points is, 2 letter grades? If it's a 1,000-point course, you would start with a C if you get a 0 on that paper. So let's not do that, all right? Just turn something in. You have until the end of the course, which is May the 3rd, to get, revisions in. I won't grade more than 1 revision, so make sure that you understand what needs to be revised and do the assignment to get full credit for it, but you still have some time. So just kind of keep all that in mind. Let me get out of this now and go over to the course and go here. All right, so I'm in the course here for you. They're both the same, really. Where I'm talking about where all my stuff is here at the top, where it's the Professor Down alternate readings. Open it up. I'll just go down the list here. So the AI feedback folder has specific assignments. I have one for the essay itself, and I have one for the outline. So I would suggest, if you want to just test, is my argument reasonable and does it have all the stuff it needs, is to put a detailed outline into this one and have your thesis, the introduction and background information about your problem, your supporting evidence, specific rhetorical appeals. That would be things like logos, ethos, and pathos. Like where you plan to use them, kind of what they are, describe them a little bit. The counter arguments, what are they? How are you going to answer them? You don't necessarily have to do a rebuttal, which shows that they're wrong. Sometimes counter arguments can be useful. You can adapt them. Rogerian argument does that a lot, but you can do it in other ways too. And then your conclusion and call to action. I've got it set up for really both of these, so you can submit 2 different versions of your work into this, and you can ask follow-up questions of the AI. The persuasive research essay is more, you can put your essay in there and then ask for specific kinds of feedback. I'm giving you some choices. So that's that one. Next one here is the new folder I've got for you, persuasive research resources. So I have some stuff from a book that I'm using in my face-to-face classes that I think is way better than what's in your course right now. So I have one on persuasive appeals. If you want to look at logos, ethos, pathos, review that. I also have this several pages here on argumentative writing. So I'm giving you the first kind of introduction to that. But if you go down to the bottom, you can navigate it. You can click to the next page and the next page. Rogerian argument is one of those. And then I have a sort of just, it was the first thing I Googled, it came up and it was fine. It's analytical verbs for signal phrases from, I think, the University of Arizona. In MLA, note that the verbs need to be in present tense. I talked about that earlier. It's past tense in APA. This resource is past tense, but you can figure that out, I think. And then I have the old thing that I put in a while ago, which was the developing a research question. So that's that. I encourage you to read that and look at it, especially if you're struggling with what's in the course. It's not helping you that much. Specific assignment resources, that's the folder down here. And the very first thing in here right now is the formatting and works cited demos. It's a playlist on Google Doc, or I'm sorry, on YouTube, which is out on. And so I have it for Google Docs, Word Desktop, Word Online, and Apple Pages. I have how to format a works cited page, how to set it up in Google Docs. So there's several different videos there. Use the ones that are helpful to you. Let's see. I think that's all, folks. I'm enjoying. I kind of enjoyed not having to grade stuff this week, but I am looking at some of the things. I'm trying to keep stuff clean that you've turned in. So if it's still a 0, it just means that my grade book, when I'm looking at the full grade book, I can't see that. Let me know what it is, and I will go in there manually and find it. I certainly will go in and clean it up. I just did a progress report, so I think I cleaned a lot up then. But if anything came in after that, I might not see it again until the next progress report or until the end of the course. But I will go through every person and make sure that all the stuff you submitted has been graded. And if it was submitted before April 22nd at noon, then I will grade it, even if I don't get to it before then. So just be aware of that. Anyway, email me if you need something, and I'll look forward to seeing these papers and what you're working with. Thanks.